Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode on the podcast in Autistic Assemble series. Today I'm joined with Jonathan, and Jonathan is an ambassador for the Multi-School Council, has been for a little while now, I think. And today we're going to be speaking about autism. Jonathan's going to be sharing his journey, and we're going to be speaking about other things as well, like interests that we like, mutual interests as well. So that's going to be really cool. So Jonathan, we didn't mind just doing a little introduction to yourself. I know I've practically introduced you for you, but is there anything else that you want to add?
Hello, I'm Jonathan. I'm a multi-schools ambassador, and you pretty much summed it up, Mason.
Yeah, I did it for you, didn't I? Yeah. So, like with the Multi-School Council, do you enjoy being like an ambassador for the Multi-School Council, Jonathan?
Yes, I do. It's been a real privilege to do it since I was in year 5.
Yeah. What year are you in now?
I'm in 9. I'm doing my GCSE.
Yeah. Although that must be hard work doing that.
It is. It's also having to tackle doing some kind of university work as well, and managing different clubs as well. So it does get a bit overwhelming, but I managed to keep it managed.
Yeah, it is hard, but it's good at the same time. When I was at school, my favourite year was my last year, not because I left, it was just because it was easy. Like, because the whole school life, they always say you got to do this for your exam, you got to do this for your exam, don't they? So it's always tough sometimes, but yeah, it's crazy. So year 5 and then year 9, so that's about not 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. And like, because it's pretty cool because we're both leaders, aren't we, of the autism group? Aren't we? Yeah. Do you like the power?
No, I don't think there's any difference with me having power or me not.
Yeah.
I just want to have a conversation and share my ideas.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter if you're a leader or not, because like you say, it's all about sharing ideas and just doing different things. And I know there's lots of things going on with autism with I think the group, I think for Autism Acceptance Day and stuff like that. So it's great that we get to have these meetings, and I think it's a good idea that every single group about different things has a different group, doesn't it?
I think I'm in 2 of them actually.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the ADHD one, and I'm in the autism one.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'll spread my influence.
Yeah, it's good that you're in more. Like, it's not bad because you get to do different things, I guess, with the ADHD group.
Yeah, it was a very interesting thing that's been going on for the last weeks, because I'm in another organisation called the YEA, which runs alongside the Multi-Schools Council. So whilst I go to their meetings in the Multi-Schools one, I just get to hear both sides of the upcoming event. So besides Kieran, I'm the only other one who knows most of it.
Yeah, in a few meetings I've met maybe 1 or 2 people from the YEA. But I won't know as much as you, of course, because you go to all the meetings.
They're not special, it's just a random group of people just meeting up. Yeah.
I think it's a good way to meet people. I think, like, if it's the YEA, if it's the Multi-School Council, like, you meet good people, and like you talk about things that you like. I think autism tends to be a hobby now for a lot of us who are involved with it, even though most of us have it ourselves, but we like to maybe raise awareness, raise acceptance of it, so other people know what it is. Yeah.
Like, I remember this. I had a meeting a few days ago, and we discussed, should we call it autism acceptance or autism awareness? And we all majority said awareness, because autism shouldn't be accepted. There should be more awareness about it.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, really, because you kind of you do need both. Like I think you need the awareness and the acceptance, but without the awareness you can't get the acceptance, and without the acceptance you can't get the awareness. So I think the awareness is good. It's just trying to, I guess, you want the acceptance so people understand you, because sometimes you may feel, is there any point doing the awareness if they're not going to accept you anyway? But yeah, there's so many different things around autism that people can talk about. I think if you're doing a speech about it, if you're I guess because everyone's doing, I think, a video or something, aren't they, for acceptance day, which is really cool. I thought I did my one the other day. But whenever I do a video, when my school council ask me to do a video, Jonathan, they say do it for a minute. I never do it for a minute. I always do it over. I've often repeat myself, because I don't know, like, it's in you have everything in your head, and then when you actually do it, it's a lot different.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, because and then whoever's recording me, they'll say to me, Mason, you said that about 5 times. But in a way, it's good because it gets the minutes going on, or something. But it is really good because Multi-School Council does lots of different events about different things, doesn't it? Which is really cool. Like you did walk with that. The last one was at the Colchester United Stadium, I think.
Yes,
Year.
that was the last big event. We're now getting a new one coming up in April. But yeah, that was the last.
Yeah. Are you going to go to that one in April, Jonathan?
Yes, I'm going to the one in April.
So I need to do it all because I'm not I'm a night owl, you see. So I will get up early if I need to. So in this special occasion, I do. So I have to get up really early because I live about maybe 30-40 minutes away from Chelmsford. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun because we haven't had an event. I don't think we've had an event like this before. I think it's like really.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because you get the two different organisations that are very important to young people with disabilities and non-disabilities, and then if there's this massive bit, then it can spread the message at a greater radius.
Yeah, it will be nice to meet new people I haven't seen before. Like it's gonna be really fun. Like you got food if you like food. I say we do like food. Like everyone likes food. But like I think they've got their own lunch or something like that. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. To see who comes, and I think it varies between the age range. I think from 9, I think, to 21. But it's gonna be cool. It don't matter if it rains or not because it's inside, so that don't matter. So it's really interesting. So within yourself, Jonathan, like with your autism, like was you diagnosed quite young? Do you when was you diagnosed with autism?
I was diagnosed when I was 7, and it was primarily because throughout when I was in my first stages of education, I was always classified as a misbehaving kid. So I got a lot of comments like my parents got, well, I've never had a child misbehave like this before. And then I got questioned for a lot of things. So I finally got said by my parents finally decided that they wanted to diagnose me, and then that made me understand myself a lot more.
Yeah, like that makes sense. Like it's good to get diagnosed at that age because you probably won't know much. Like I think whenever you get diagnosed, you're not going to know an awful lot unless you've been really educated beforehand. But I was diagnosed similar age. I was diagnosed when I was 9. But it is annoying when you're at school and people just think you're misbehaving, and think you're naughty, but that you're not. But there are reasons behind that, like why that is. And especially when I was at school, which was back in the dark ages.
the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
They're just classified as a very long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Not that too long, about 6 or 7 years ago. But when I was there, you see, but people had ADHD, in my class, and they would maybe, I think the stigma around ADHD is that they think they're just distracted people and they're naughty people. I think that is a lot with people with ADHD, and the teachers would just tell them off. And I saw that a lot. And even though it wasn't their fault, from a teacher's from a teacher doesn't know about that. I understand from reasons, but they should just be really. I think they need to be. Every teacher has to be careful in their approach with people. Because I think it's good to. I think it's important to know about the individual person before telling them off or something like that. I think that's really important.
Yeah, the main fault with most of my teachers is they didn't really bother to get to know me as a person. They just saw me as an expendable person who was misbehaving. So it took till about year 4 for a teacher to actually bother to truly get to know me, like got to know my true inner person.
Yeah.
So and then that went out the window in year 5.
Yeah. That was it, and yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? Because you just want people to understand you, and then if they're not even going to listen to you, you kind of feel like there's no point sometimes in school.
Does need to be improved. Like a punishment that I've been given twice, but one of them I was able to get to spend time at home, which did affect my attendance, which I did say, well, is isolation, because you're being isolated. And most autistic children don't really get an open group of friends. It's usually down to like 4 people you usually socialise with.
That's right.
So if you isolate them in a room where you can't talk, you can't really interact with anyone, you're effectively making the situation worse for their social life at a later date. Like I wasn't giving any LSA support, any teacher support.
Yeah.
And we were given the food inside the room, and I was a bit like, hang on, this is familiar somehow. And I just realised, this is prison. You're being kept in a prison. You're not allowed to see anyone. You're not allowed to really talk or interact. You're not allowed to see friends, it's basically undermining the point of school to make friends that will go on to continue on to your later life.
Yeah, it is really hard. Like different types of schools have their different ways. If it's mainstream, if it's special, everyone has their own personal experience. If they like it or not. But what I think, one thing I don't know, still happens now. But when I was at school, they did this an award at the end of every term or at the end of every year. They would give a certificate to an attendance and award to people that were in every single day. And I think that shouldn't be a thing because I won it, but they didn't include it because if I went for a hospital appointment or a doctor's appointment, they say you're not in. Because I did go in at one point, it was just I wasn't in the whole day. But I think those type of awards should be scrapped because it's not fair for like other people because not everyone. It's rare for actually people to be on every day. You only have a few, and I don't think that people should have awards for that kind of.
I kind of support what my school's doing now, where rather than making like an award for entire attendance, they're going with, if you make it like, yeah, it's fine if you have like, let's say 3 days off for like medical purposes, or if it's like a key medical condition or you've been given permission of school, it won't count. So it basically says if you are above 95%, you can get to go on a trip. So it's your choice whether you go in or not. And your parent, if it's like a severe injury that you must be in the doctors or you must take time of school for isolation, if you've got like a dangerous disease, it wouldn't count.
Yeah, there's so much that things that should be. Like, it's good the school does that, but it's good. Loads of things need to be improved. I had a conversation with someone yesterday about it. That things don't need to be improved around education. Like people shouldn't have to be constantly explaining all the time about themselves and about maybe their personal, if they're struggling, because if you're struggling with something and you ask, and normally what I would get sometimes would be, can you try again, even though when you've asked for help. So it's just those things where you feel, is there any point sometimes? But yeah, there's a load of things that need to improve. I completely agree, Jonathan. Yeah, so within, like, I know we'll talk about Doctor in a minute, because I know we're going to talk about that. But did you want to share? I think I said before that you want to share about going to Ipswich game for the first time.
Yeah. So I went there when I was like, I believe I was 8. And I was in my Harry Potter phase. We all have our Harry Potter phase eventually. But mine was a very poor one. So I went there in my dad's old hat, and then I got some gloves and. But when I went there, it was like the crowd was awesome, and I really enjoyed the experience. The only downside to the actual overall game was we weren't playing right. We were struggling so bad, and I just cried at the end of it. It was like, I don't want to do this again. Come last year, and my dad's like, we'll go to another one, and I'm like, okay, let's see if this is different. We played a lot better, like brilliantly, but we lost 1-0, and I was a bit like, you're kidding me. I've gone to 2 Ipswich games within the space of like 2 years, and it's the same result.
Yeah.
So, and it also goes in with my, as I say, my alleged curse.
Yeah.
When my dad was watching Norwich versus Ipswich live, I come into the room and Norwich scores a lucky shot, and they win the match.
Oh no. Yeah.
So every time I watch a football match, the team I support usually loses.
Wow.
Like women's UEFA, we're losing 1-0. I'm like, I've got to go into my room.
Yeah.
Within the space of 5 minutes, they score. I'm like, I told you I'm the cursed one.
Yeah, but they are doing pretty well at the moment, Ipswich.
Third place in the league, and Wednesday's finally lost. We're all crying with joy.
Yeah, two in a row.
Hopefully become second. Hopefully become second place, as that would complete ours, because we either go up by the playoffs or we're the champions. We've never come second place, so I'd love to see that we actually have the full package eventually.
Like, I'd rather us go up in the top 2 rather than the playoffs, because Ipswich record in the playoffs isn't great. And last time he was in the playoffs was against Norwich, and
yeah, we all know how that went.
But yeah, we'll definitely be playing Norwich next season if Ipswich did go up, because I can't see Norwich going up this season to the Prem.
Yeah, my dad was talking about how they were like, it's our divine right to go up. We must go up. And then that's what you heard on a Norwich radio station, and I'm like, are these guys for real? They're clinging on to literally, we defeated you that time, and I'm like, but your mascot looks horrifying. Your team has failed, like, every time. They don't win. They just can't stand up.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you've got Norwich, you've got West Brom, you've got probably Bournemouth. You've got teams like that just go up and just can't stay up. And it's I think Ipswich in years to come, we will eventually get there in the Premier League, because
hopefully win it.
Yeah. I hope so. I'm not sure we will, but you never know with football. Like Leicester won it that year, and then it could go down this season. So they're doing it's a miracle. But I think it's very close for League One at the moment. Like, you've got the top 4 teams: Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth, and Barnsley. Well, I believe Ipswich will go up, even though Ipswich probably got the hardest run of games. If they beat Derby, they've got to play Derby and Barnsley. They're the hardest games left. Beat them, I think they have a really good chance. I think they will go up. Because watching I watched the Sheffield Wednesday games, and it was quite funny. At the end of the game, I watched everything. I watched it all, like them talking about afterwards. And the two people talking about it was like they got asked, "Who do you think will go up out the top two?" And they still believe Sheffield Wednesday will go up, but they said Ipswich are going to go up as well, and Plymouth will just miss out and potentially go off in the playoffs. But yeah, I think it's League One is actually a really underestimated league. It's like no one really talks about it, but these lower leagues are really good and really fun. They have more games than the Premier League.
It's got more passion.
Fun. Yeah, like you're playing more often. You're not having these cup games, and you don't have VAR, which is actually a good. It's good because you don't have to worry about it if it hasn't gone over the line or stuff like that. Those decisions that take about 10 minutes in the Premier League, so don't have to worry about that.
And also the fact is, unlike most towns, like Ipswich Town actually primarily has the entire town go to their matches in the home. Liverpool can't exactly say that all the time. It's primarily they have a wide amount of fans. We are like devoted fans. Like my dad played for a fan game between the new and old fans.
Yeah.
And he was the goalkeeper, and they did a very good job, but they lost. But it just shows because he helped write a book on Ipswich and helped all the things. But it just gets to the point of like you do know like to standard Premier League people, they don't understand that we have decent teams. Plymouth is a brilliant team. Wednesday's a good team. Tottenham's a good team. We've got teams that have been high up and down low, and they're all giving each other a good game.
Yeah.
Unlike the Premier League, where you're most likely going to be seeing Liverpool, Tottenham, Manchester City, Manchester United all just go up very quickly. Like my family's main team, West Ham, has been dropping slowly because it's just they're not able to compete because these massive industrial teams just get a ton of money.
Yeah, you need money to stay in the Premier League. Yeah, you need to have a lot of money to stay in the Premier League, and this is why you see the Leeds going down, not doing well. The Norwiches, because they don't. You have to spend when you're in the Premier League. You have to spend money. If you don't spend money, you might as well say you're going to go down. Like Nottingham Forest spent an awful lot of money on half a dozen players this season, and I still thought they were going to go down, but I don't think they will because they've recruited a load of people. But the only downfall about doing that, because Ipswich done that as well, they bought about 20 players, and no one knows each other, so it takes time for them to gel. And they did that, I think, last season, and it didn't work. It just didn't work for Ipswich, which is why we didn't go up. But this season, they didn't get as much players as they did, which was good. So, and then they've had time to gel, and they're doing much better. Like Ipswich have done probably better now than they've done the last 20 odd years. Within all those managers that they've had. Because McKenna has worked with Ronaldo at United. He's worked with load of really good players in the higher leagues. And you've even had when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was Manchester United manager. He came down with Michael Carrick, who's Middlesbrough manager now, to see a game. I don't think it was Portman Road. It was somewhere near Manchester. It might have been Derby or something. But he's got those really good connections and worked some really good people, which is why I think he's a really good young manager. And I think it's why you really want it to go up this season, because you fear if they don't go up, they might lose some of these really good players like Wes Burns or Broadhead, who have just been playing for Wales. They are players that should be at a really high championship club, I think, in time, which we could be, I think, next season. I think we'll be, say we get promoted, like we gave Burnley a game, didn't we, when we played Burnley in the cup, and that was a really hard game for Burnley, and they're Premier League bound.
With the FA Cup, we actually went and fought teams that were above our league, and we won. And we got very high up, and we even drew with a team that was higher up than us. That just proves the point. We might not be up high, but we have still got a very good, strong team and a durable team that will take us far.
Yeah, we definitely do. Well, hopefully Ipswich do get promoted. I wouldn't mind the playoffs in a way, because it's just more games to watch Ipswich, and it'll be live on Sky Sports, so that would be nice. But top 2 would be lovely, so we don't have to worry about it. Because I think all the top 4 teams will end up on 90+ points. They will end up on 90+ points, but I don't think it's ever happened before in League One. So it's really good, really good. But before we finish, Jonathan, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Doctor Who, because I know we both love it. So I guess who's your favourite? Did you have a favourite Doctor, Jonathan, in Doctor Who?
I don't really have. It's more split because I really appreciate William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, David Tennant, because they all have their enthusiasm. Like William Hartnell did it because he loved the show. Patrick Troughton had so much flair when acting from what we get to see of him. David Tennant did it as a childhood dream, and it comes out brilliantly. So
yeah,
it's all.
It is really good, isn't it? Like you've got David Tennant coming back for the 60th anniversary this year, so that's gonna be fun.
Many people say it was like a way of trying to fix up the show to bring in more audience members. I don't think it's that. I think they did it to primarily get an old Doctor to handle the 60th, to enable to make way for a new Doctor to handle an entirely new series.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting way that they've managed to handle it.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% supportive of the fact that they did bring him back. I understand that it's good, but I think it just kind of undermines the point of having a different face each time.
Yeah.
And also the doctors are out of sync. We've got the War Doctor, who isn't even a true doctor. We have the Timeless Child incident, which has messed up the lore a little. Classic Who did it. Modern Who did it. Now the Chibnall era has done it.
Yeah, I think like, well, I'm very happy that like Russell T Davies is back, because he's done really well with Doctor Who, and I hope who the music composer is going to be. I look forward to hearing that news, because I love music in Doctor Who. I could listen to a soundtrack of it all the time. But the recent music I haven't been much of a fan of. Hasn't sunk in really.
It's a little too low. It's a little too like. It feels. Let's say a regular Doctor Who music, like the first one's like Glass. It feels like an increasingly smudged one. It feels like it's not the original flary one. Like it slowly changed from being like this nice rhythm to like a weird jazzy sort of. Then it went all sci-fi, and then went to CGI, and then we got like a decent orchestra one. Matt Smith's was like the first warning that we're going to get more deeper music. And Peter Capaldi had a similar, but was still sci-fi enough to make it. And then Jodie Whittaker's kind of just went, hey, we're going to try something completely different that the fans will not be completely content with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I thought with the David Tennant's return, I'm very excited, because I do love David Tennant and anything he's in. So I know it's going to be great. And within, I think it was one, like you say, it's just to handle the 60th, because it's a bit much for Shooty Getter to take that on as being a new Doctor. But okay.
It's a generated Doctor in a special, which is about bringing the fans together. I still say the recent episode would have been a brilliant 60th. If that had been a 60th episode, I wouldn't be disappointed, but they could have smoothed out a lot of the recent episodes.
Yeah.
So, but my only concern is when Russell T Davies comes back, I don't want him to screw up his reputation. Because I watched the video and someone said, let's say this, Russell T Davies' writing was like your mum's cooking, like very nice, like fresh, and he said that Stephen Moffat's was like having a steak from a restaurant. They can sometimes cook it very well, or they can flat out ruin it, whilst also adding different flavours into it. And then Chibnall just went, let's give you a fast food whiz of it, and hope you don't give a care, whilst also petting this fast spice into it.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, that's a funny way of putting it. Like I think, like in a way, because ratings have been down for the last few years of Doctor Who, which is I literally thought it was gonna have a break for a little while, because I think it probably need it to have a little break. But now I think which is why Russell came back to try and fix it, fix it a little bit. And I think bringing David Tennant was for the 60th, and just to get a few people watching it, because it like people will watch it with David Tennant. No disrespect to any other Doctor, but people will watch it with David Tennant.
Right.
Because they'll remember him as the 10th Doctor. But that's the thing. He's not going to be the 10th Doctor. He's going to be a 14th Doctor for about 3 episodes, which is going to be cool, but it's also going to be sad, because seeing him go again is going to be sad for a lot of people.
I think that might actually diminish the end of time finale. We got to see such a dramatic end, and now we're going to most likely get, well, you'll possibly see me again in another seasons.
Yeah. I think that because he said he didn't want to go, but he got his wish, didn't he, the Doctor?
I have a feeling I know why he went back to that phase. You know, when there was the Force Regeneration, we got to see the different Doctors.
Yeah.
The Doctors that we didn't get to see were the modern ones. We didn't get to see Eccleston, David, who could have easily been put into that. Matt, who has other things that he's needing to do. Capaldi, who's a now Hollywood actor star. And we can't have Jodie or John Hurt because John Hurt's no longer around. Rest in peace, John Hurt. Brilliant War Doctor. And Jodie's the current Doctor. So it makes sense that David would be there. And I think it was actually because the Force Regeneration had actually kind of triggered when David Tennant stopped his regeneration from happening. I think it triggered you must treasure your life more. So, but I have a feeling that when we see Ncuti Gatwa in the trailer and he basically goes, "What the hell is going on?" I think it's more him in his mind, and I think David Tennant's gonna have like moments where he will just blank out for like a few minutes, and he and Gatwa will talk, and we'll be like, and it'll be like David Tennant will be like, "I didn't want this to happen. I moved on," but it'll be an interesting dynamic on how they manage it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting, and I think that's a really good theory about Ncuti Gatwa that is in his mind, because I think it's either gonna be that or the David Tennant 14th Doctor will switch in and out, or because like I think the Toymaker I think is the main guy in there, and I think he's maybe conjoined them so that they're in like 2 Doctors are in the same body, and then maybe at some point they unemerge so they're not together or something like that. I think that's gonna be really interesting, but it's gonna be really cool because I think other Doctors will probably appear who we haven't seen in maybe the last episode. Like Chris Eccleston won't because of certain reasons, but Matt Smith does. I think he's the best chance of any Doctor. If there is another Doctor appear, it will probably be him. But I'm not sure about Peter Capaldi, perhaps, or maybe probably not. Because there will be other people there. It's not just going to be the Doctor and Donna. There will be other people in the episodes, because I think it's going to be more like movies kind of episodes, because you've got I think 3 specials, and then you have the Christmas special with Ncuti Gatwa, which I'm really looking forward to because I missed the Christmas specials.
The Christmas specials made Doctor Who great again.
Yeah.
We got the New Year specials, and let's just say this: Chibnall's best episodes were when he was with classic villains.
Yeah.
He had a brilliant Sontaran episode, which I still maintain is the best episode that he came out of Flux.
That one, that one and the Weeping Angel ones are his best ones, I think.
I did not like the fact about Second Chance You Crumble. I did find that a bit debatable, because that would have undermined the point of the first one when they get sent back in time by Weeping Angels.
I think the Sontaran episode was really good. I did enjoy the Sontaran one.
Like the series 11 best episode was definitely Resolution. Like put us back to the basics of what Daleks were. You had these massive armies by the end of what's that? I'm forgetting now. We've been talking about it. Russell's era.
Yeah, well, it's a long time ago. I think we want to forget. It's gonna be. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens, Jonathan. And yeah, it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be really exciting. But I think just last thing to touch on. I think a lot of people who are autistic tend to relate to Doctor Who from certain ways. People maybe do stuff in there, and I think that's really cool. That we kind of we like the show. Is like a special interest of ours that you just talk about. Could talk about it all day long, couldn't we?
Yeah, like I outdid someone who watched the original, and it was like, what was the name of the ship the Doctor visited where they cannibalized the crew? And it was like, you're not gonna get this. It was like, it's the Madame de Pompadour, and he was like, what the?
Yeah.
So I outdid him there. So
That is my favourite episode actually. The Girl in the Fireplace with Madame de
it
Pompadour.
was a very good episode because it was basically just saying the Doctor's what it was like for the companions of the Doctor. It's like
Yeah.
he pops in and out. It's like he's opening a door, says hi, and then goes.
It's great.
And eventually, age and age and age, and end result, you miss him so much that he can't exist without him. So, and many of the companions question, why did he leave us? Why couldn't we have been with him forever? And it's because he can't bring himself to see them degrade and die, because it would be his fault that they died without having a proper life.
It is great. Yeah.
Like I like the comment Jackie makes is when what are you going to do when I'm gone? It will be this random woman who walks through the streets that talks about foreign aliens, and you won't know what a thing that's going to go on.
No. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens with it because it's gonna be really good on it's gonna be on Disney Plus with different spin-offs as well. So it's gonna be interesting and see where it goes.
I want to see them do a Dalek spin-off. Like I know we've got the Time Lord Victorious Daleks YouTube series, but I want to see an actual action prop series that has because I think that would be because that would fulfill the wishes of their creator Terry Nations, because he always wanted them to have an individual series.
Yeah,
and I think that when you listen to what the series was planned to do, that can work in our modern day, and it'd be very interesting.
I think they are going to do a monster series or something.
On that, do you think the Daleks need a redesign, or do you think they should get a Time War look?
I think I did like the I do like the ones from David Tennant's era. They are my favourite ones. But I don't know. Like I think they are having a redesign anyway. I didn't like that. You had the Paradigm Daleks from Matt Smith at the start of his series, where he had all these different colour ones. That was interesting. I didn't mind them, but we never saw them again after that.
Oh no, you see them in Asylum, but they've given them metal. And I just make the comment is the fans didn't warm up to them. That was the only problem. It was all this bit about the Time War. Like, it's the only problem they had was they put them up against the Ironsides, and we all know how good the Ironsides looked. Yeah. And like, I would say that they should have just given them metallic looks. Like, we should have had, rather than we have like we don't even know what the Eternal is. Like, the Eternal could pop up anywhere. We don't know what its purpose is. The scientist we only see in Victory of the Daleks. The strategist is a side character, and the Supreme just seems to die all the time. He dies in the Wedding of River Song. He then dies again off screen because we see him in the Asylum, and then he dies again in the Parliament ship at the end of Moffat's era, of Matt Smith's era with the Moffat. But I would have rather seen them make a ton more about the drones. Like the video game stories, particularly on the Paradigm, were a lot interesting. But I do still say that we should keep the Time War designs, but give them the classic silver and blue. Redesign the gun a bit, redesign the eye stalk a bit, and the lights, and you have a pretty cool Dalek design. It's more because I don't think they need to be in this war attitude anymore. Because as you saw, it's more now survival because the flux events happened. So the only way that we could see that is Skaro survived. barely.
Yeah.
And nearly every single Time War Dalek has died, apart from the executioners we see at the beginning, who were the last ones sent, because we all know that the Time War Daleks actually have a better ability of surviving than
Yeah.
the classic Daleks. So
Yeah.
that might be
I
the
think so.
reason why.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Silver Daleks or something like that, because I've never seen them in new Doctor Who really. So that'd be really interesting to see them. Yeah.
Like, I also say that Chibnall did an excellent service with the Cybermen. Like, their square helmets for the reboot and their redesigned guns made it very good.
Hmm.
My only criticism of the design, was he said that they were robots, and I think that diminishes the point. Like, Cybermen are supposed to be the next generation of humanoids. Why do we want to become robots?
Yeah, that was funny.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, all my soldiers are purged of organic components, and the master doing what the fans were doing at the moment were like, that doesn't make you special. That doesn't make you those villains that we saw from Mundas. As with, I still say that the Mundasians are the scariest. Like those.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
I would love to see a similar story to Peter Capaldi's last three stories. I think that really set the stage of the horrors that the Cybermen went through.
Yeah.
Like, Moffat made Cybermen upgradable.
They did, yeah.
We all know what that meant. They could fly.
He done them really well, didn't he? Jonathan, and the Cybermen are great. Last two things actually before we go, because I guess like Doctor Who wise, do you have like a favourite quote or anything, or maybe a favourite episode or scene, anything that you relate to within that?
I say I kind of relate to the factor of like the Doctor's always there. Like the comment is my favourite quote is Matt Smith's, "We are all different people throughout our lives, but we're always the same person."
That's good.
Because I felt that was really impersonating a characteristic of humans. Like, we are different people throughout, like, autistics it can be, we have different interests throughout our lives, so we are different individuals, but we are the same person, we have the same personality. Yeah. So it really resonated, and it was very emotional seeing it, and I felt that it was a very good quote.
Yeah, and that does really relate to autistic people, doesn't it? Like, being different.
And so the thing that I most related to was like the Doctor's like kind of inner struggles with having to deal with being. He's pretty much immortal. Like, he will die. We all know, because that kind of undermined the point of what Moffat did. Like, you can't undo Moffat's damage, because Moffat made it really obvious that is official law. So, but it was like, the more you have to see everyone around you pass on, it just leaves you there. Yeah. And it just makes a feeling of abandonment. Like, he was abandoned by the Time Lords by the end, because they just wanted to exploit him. They questioned a ton of things. They asked him about who the Predator was, thinking it was a Dalek and a Time Lord. But as anyone, the Daleks weren't actually exactly dangerous, and they were not exactly evil. We call them evil because they kill people. Has anyone wanted to realise that they don't completely have control of this? Because the Carlids were fighting for the survival of their race. It was a actual genuine what we would do in our future scenario.
Yeah.
But it was because a evil dictator, of course, who has been crippled alive and has a stark point of view and is a total fascist.
Yeah.
Changes the genetics and makes them go against everything, and then as a result, he messes up bad because he gets exterminated more than once. So it just leads to the point of the Doctor's not. The Daleks aren't evil, and when the Daleks say you are a good Dalek, it's kind of like saying you are not good, but you are not bad either. You are basically the perfected version that you care and save others, but you also kill millions.
Yeah.
So it, and like, I say that if the show's ever going to die, the last episode should reveal the Doctor's name, but it should not be verbally spoken. I say that it should come at the very end with, like, at the end of it, it'll have the Doctor Who logo, and underneath it will have, and it's finally answered, and it's got the Gallifreyan name, because I feel like that would be a perfect end to a series.
Yeah, that would, yeah, because you always wonder what the Doctor's name is, but it is the Doctor. So that would be really interesting, I think, Jonathan.
I also find it interesting that he does have a name. It's
Yeah.
been passed on from producer to producer. Like, the actors who play the Doctor get told the name. The people who are related to the Doctor in the series get told the name. I believe the families of the individual Doctors get told the name, but they're not allowed to say it to anyone else. So
Yeah.
there are people who do know.
Yeah.
But we the fans are none the wiser.
Have to ask. Hope you get an answer.
No. We kidnap all the producers and just interrogate them one. And if you do not tell us, we will just quit your show.
Yeah. Last thing, actually, Jonathan, before we I'll be back. Last thing before we go. Would you have, I know, any advice about autism at all? Maybe from your experience, maybe school, or just any advice around that? Just to finish.
You're not weird. You're unique. And despite what anyone really says about you or makes comments on your behaviour, just go, well, this is me, and you're not accepting who I am. So just keep going, and you'll eventually become a brilliant person.
Yeah, I love that, Jonathan, because we are all unique. Like as Matt Smith said in the Rings of Architecture, we're all unique in the universe because we are, aren't we? But yeah, I completely agree, and I thank you, Jonathan, for coming on. Because I know we could probably speak about like autism, Doctor Who, football for about a long time, but we have to finish at some point.
Probably about a week. About a week before we finally get tired of each other and be like, I'll have a break.
Yeah.
And I'll have a break and we'll talk later.
Yeah, but it's been great. I'm glad that you have enjoyed it, and you can say you've been on a podcast now.
Well, I've already appeared on YouTube by getting, because I'm into another fandom that I know another Whovian's into, and I got very far with that. I got to air in one competition and then got to air into what was left of the series. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's great. That is really fun. But to anyone actually who's listening or you're watching, I hope you've enjoyed it as well. On Autistic Assemble, in like Autism Acceptance Month. It's good, and it's been great to speak to you, Jonathan. So I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Hope everyone else has a nice rest of your day, whatever time it is, whatever day it is. Wherever you're listening to it, I hope you enjoy it, and I will see you in the next episode.